Every good protagonist needs a strong cast of supporting characters nearby, and Ogiri Cap from Cinderella Gray is no exception. Without characters like Fujimasa March, Belno Light, and Kitahara Jo, Ogiri's story could not be as impactful as it is, which is why I think it is equally important for us to explore their history as well. Similar to how Ogiri is based on real life, all three of these characters are also inspired by real horses and people. First up is Fujimasa March, or should I say March Tosho. Even though Tosho is part of March's name, he has no relation to Tosho Boy or any other Tosho titled horses. March Tosho was born on April 5th, 1985 to Press Toko, 1977's Kikasho champion, and the horse Maruzensky decimated in the Radio Nikkei show. His mother was March Fast, who never ran in any races. As you probably know, March Tosho raced against Ogiri Cap 8 times in Kasamatsu and was the only horse who could be recognized as Ogiri's rival in regionals. Just like in the anime, he placed 4th at the Tokai Derby and won the Gifu Okan show the month after. March eventually transferred to Central Horse Racing in 1989, but unlike Ogiri, he was pitifully unsuccessful. March's performance was so bad that the manga doesn't even cover it. Of the 4 ungraded races he competed in, March Tosho came in dead last in every single one. Interestingly, March raced against Bamboo Memory in his first 2 races at Central, but that doesn't mean much since Bamboo Memory also got destroyed in those races. Additionally, Tatsumi Minai jockeyed March for his 3rd race in Central, and it was before he became Ogiri's jockey in 1989. Distraught from their consecutive losses, March and his team returned to Kasamatsu for 1 race, and then proceeded to race in Kochi with some success over the next several years. Thankfully, a stablehand of Kochi racecourse, Kenta Tsunori, took some photos of March while he was working there. He described March as a horse with big, bright eyes, cute, quiet, and kind of cat-like. Just as Fujimasa March promised in Cinderella Gray, March Tosho did indeed race longer than Ogiri Cap. He raced for a total of 6 years, primarily on dirt mile courses, except for 1 turf race at Central, and retired in the summer of 1992 with 10 wins out of 55 starts. Afterwards, he became a riding horse for 14 years. Sadly, there is no mention of him ever becoming a stallion, nor having any offspring listed in horse racing databases. His last known age was 21 in 2006 when this photo was taken. Apart from being adopted by a fan after retiring from riding, no other information on March Tosho exists. It is believed he passed away to old age, but the deceased date is unknown. March Tosho is well remembered as the only regional horse who humbled Ogiri Cap. Just like how Fujimasa March is based on a racehorse, Belno Light follows that same trend, except her character incorporates real people as well. Her horse counterpart is a Kasamatsu racehorse named Twin B, who was born on May 22nd, 1985, the same year as Ogiri and March. Twin B's mother was Hiraku Ryu, who had 3 ungraded wins in Central. She was sired by Nice Dancer, son of Northern Dancer, which means she shares the same father as Nice Nature. Although the amount of information about Twin B is limited to just her race records, there are several dead giveaways in the anime pertaining to her real identity. The most obvious are the 2 giant bees Belno wears as hair accessories. The next one is when Kitahara Jo delays her debut because of her poor running ability, and we don't see her debut until the day before Ogiri runs in the Junior Crown. Twin B's debut race took place in October, the same month Ogiri ran in the Junior Crown. The actual dates between real life and the anime are off, but they both take place in October. Coincidence? I don't think so. The anime never explicitly states how Belno did in her debut, but we know that at best, she got 5th, which is quite different from Twin B's 3rd place. I'm assuming they changed the results for dramatic effect and to really push Belno into the supporting role. It's unclear what happened to Twin B, as detailed accounts are almost non-existent for local level horses, but her final racing record was 10 wins out of 45 starts, and they were all at Kasamasu in mild dirt races. She eventually became a broodmare, birthed 2 mares by the name of Peter Queen in 1992, and the other is unregistered, so there's no official documented name. Sadly, she had 3 miscarriages over the course of her time as a broodmare. Like March Tosho, there is no clear deceased date, but we know she lived to at least 11 years old from her birthing records. As for the human inspirations, Belno is a combination of several different people that supported Oguri Cap during his career. First up is Tomomitsu Kawase, Oguri's primary stable attendant at Kasamatsu. Shortly after accepting the position, Kawase was the one who discovered and treated the fungal infection in Oguri's hooves. Just like Kawase, Belno was the one who realized Oguri was having pain during her race with March, and it was through her actions that unlocked Oguri Cap's full running potential. Additionally, Belno Light is always seen performing the typical duties that the stable groom does, such as feeding, brushing Oguri's hair, and essentially tending to Oguri's every need. In life, a stable attendant is with the horse almost every moment of the day when the horse is not racing or training, and that mirrors Belno Light to a T. Or should I say, B. Her actions translate over to the central stable groom, Hoshiro Ike, as well. Speaking of transferring to central, there was only one person who moved to nationals with Oguri, and that was his farrier, Masaru Miwa. Miwa is the most obvious inspiration for Belno Light, since we see her buying and fitting new shoes for Oguri as early as episode 3. In later episodes, we even see Belno smithing horseshoes from scratch, and she continues to craft horseshoes for Oguri throughout Cinderella Gray. Additionally, Belno mentions that her family runs a sporting goods store, and while Miwa does not run a store per se, shoeing horses is his family's business. The last person Belno is modeled after is Oguri's central training assistant, Tsujimoto Mitsuo. Throughout Cinderella Gray, after Oguri transfers to Central, we clearly see Belno play the role of training assistant Torope. She's in as many scenes with him as she is with Oguri, maybe more. Belno is constantly trying to help improve Oguri's running ability through research and technique. This becomes especially apparent right before Oguri runs in the Anime Kinen, when Belno states that Oguri mastered her running strategy in one try, which is something Mitsuo commented on. He declared Oguri's greatest strength was his intellect. He only needed to see things one time in order to learn it, and never needed to be scolded more than once. With all these incredibly influential people who served as Oguri's stable staff during his career, it's no wonder why Belno Light is the ultimate supporter. Just like how Belno is a combination of multiple people, the same can be said for Kitahara Jo. It is no surprise that Kitahara is mostly influenced by people from Kasamatsu who were involved with Oguri during his time there. They are Oguri's Kasamatsu owner, Koichi Oguri, his trainer, Masao Sumi, his main jockey, Katsumi Ando, and Yutaka Take. First, let's talk about Koichi Oguri. Just like Kitahara, Koichi was reluctant to let Oguri run in the JRA, and his interaction with Isou Sahashi is too eerily similar to Joe's discussions with Symboli Rudolph to be considered coincidental. Sahashi told Koichi, "If you really care for the horse, then you should let him run in Central," which is basically the same as when Symboli Rudolph says, "Think of what's best for Oguri." Additionally, Koichi did not have his Central horse owner's license at the time, just like Kitahara. The same can be said for the next two influences for Kitahara's character as well. Next is trainer Masao Sumi. Besides the obvious fact that they are both trainers, the part that truly identifies him as an inspiration for Kitahara Jo was his dream for the Tokai Derby. Sumi had been the trainer for Koichi's horses for nearly 20 years, and they have never won the Tokai Derby. But just when Ogiri Cap was about to make his dream come true, Sahashi snatched Ogiri away. Just like Kitahara, this troubled Sumi to great lengths, but he eventually got over it and continued to show support for Ogiri Cap in central races. As for Katsumi Ando, in the same fashion as Kitahara failing his central trainer's license test, Ando also failed his JRA jockey test in 2002. This minor detail might not be enough to convince you, but the contents at the end of Cinderella Gray manga solidifies Kitahara's identity as Katsumi Ando without question. I won't say any more about that since it gets into major spoilers, so just take my word for it. However, in order to discuss how Kitahara Jo is modeled after Yutaka Take, then I must go into spoiler territory. So consider this your warning. If you don't want to be spoiled, then go ahead and skip to the last chapter in the video. There's nothing else pertaining to these characters back there, but you're probably going to be interested to hear what I say. Okay, going into spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Yutaka Take rides Ogiri Cap for only 2 races of his career, which are the Yasuda Kinen and the Anime Kinen in 1990. When Kitahara finally gets his central trainer's license, his first race as Ogiri's trainer is the Yasuda Kinen. Although Rope is technically still the trainer on paper, he takes a back seat and leaves everything to Kitahara for that race. When they win the Yasuda Kinen, reporters crowd all over Kitahara and call him the Rookie Genius Trainer, which is identical to what the media called Yutaka Take at the time, except he was the Rookie Genius Jockey. Additionally, when the team decides to have Ogiri participate in the Anime Kinen, Rope completely gives the reins over to Kitahara Jo once again. The last connection with Yutaka Take is that right before Ogiri runs in the Anime Kinen, Kitahara Jo, along with several other characters, all say to her, "You're Ogiri Cap." Well, that's about all there is in regards to these 3 side characters. If you want more context, I cover all of these things in my Ogiri Cap lore video, so check it out if you haven't seen it yet. I want to take a moment to thank all of you for watching my videos. Whether you've been here from the beginning or you're brand new to the channel, I appreciate you guys so much. You are the lifeblood of my channel. Without your viewership and comments, I would not be motivated to put so much effort into these videos. So, thank you. With that said, I'd like to show my appreciation by gifting these little holographic Cinderella Gray twin wafer cards thingies. I'll randomly raffle these out to some lucky people. Just tell me who your favorite side character is from Cinderella Gray in the comments, and you'll be entered into the raffle. I'll pick the winners at the end of February and tag you if you won, so keep an eye out on your notifications around that time. If you're watching from the future, sorry. Blame the algorithm for not connecting us together sooner. Anyways, thank you so much for spending your time with me. I'll see you next time.